Good morning, everyone. So, in today's very quick lesson, we're going to have a look at some notes I took recently in class. And this student said, can we talk about ways to say that a proposed change would only make everything more complex, more difficult to understand or to deal with? And so, let's just go through a couple of the different ways to do that. So let's just imagine a person says, hey Ronan, what do you think of these changes? And here's a couple of ways to beat around the bush to do it. I would think a blah blah blah. And that is kind of like your stem in this sentence here. So I would think a more streamlined approach would be suitable. So more streamlined approach will underline because it can be interchangeable with any of the phrases here. So I would think a more streamlined approach would be suitable. I would think a more efficient, a more user-friendly approach would be suitable. I would think an easier to follow path would be useful. A nice way to politely disagree with a person and make a suggestion. We spoke about straight talkers, and a straight talker is a person who says exactly what they want to say without a lot of fluff. They're not going to beat around the bush. When you beat around the bush, you kind of flirt with the idea, you kind of talk about the idea, but you're not incredibly direct. You can also say, I'm not sure this is the right approach. Another way to introduce your idea in a nice way. Instead of saying, you're wrong, this is bullshit, you can say, I'm not sure this is the right approach. You could ask a question, why are you adding more work? Obviously that's going to be unsuitable in a lot of situations, but if you're with your friends or with someone you have a very good working relationship with, you might be able to say that. This is needlessly plus adjective. This is needlessly complicated. Let's just write that. Plus adjective. Complicated. Complex. Convoluted. Could be another one. This is needlessly convoluted. Can we not just have a more streamlined approach, please? If it ain't broken, don't fix it. Love that one. Great idiom. Great idiom. So many times people try to fix something that's not broken and then it gets even worse. No need to overcomplicate. Lovely verb. No need to change anything. No need to add more steps. No need to. No need to plus verb. Wonderful one there. And just to go back to this one up here. This is needlessly complicated or complex. You can use that in many different scenarios. Oh my God, this hike is needlessly long. This movie is needlessly long. That scene was needlessly long. It didn't add anything of value to the movie. Now, here's another good phrase. In the long run, in the long term. The proposed changes may cause more work in the long run. I'm not sure we should implement them immediately. There must be an easier way. The proposed changes don't make any fucking sense. Very aggressive, obviously, so probably should reserve that for extreme circumstances or, again, with a close circle of people that you know. I'm not sure if all this is necessary. I think we had something like that up there. Yeah, I'm not sure this is the right approach. I'm not sure if this is all necessary. Is there a way we could? And let's just highlight that there because that is another beautiful stem. Is there a way we could make it more streamlined? Is there a way we could make it more user-friendly? Is there a way we could take out a couple of steps to save time and money for the client? For you, for example? You could also say, in my mind, just instead of saying, I think. And this is another lovely way here. It's kind of like a concession at the start. I see where they got their idea for this. I see where they're coming from. It's coming from a good place. But may I suggest something different? May I suggest another approach? May I suggest throwing out their plan because it's a piece of shit and won't work? Again, take it or leave it. Excuse me. The student made a good point that quite often clients will make suggestions that other clients have done on different projects in the past. And if that is the case, this is wonderful. What you are proposing is similar to X, which we worked on a year ago. Can I show you it? Because maybe, you're building similar websites. This is all tech related, but it could be used for anything, obviously. But let's just imagine that you're working on a project, again, for a different company, very similar project to something you've done before. You found the right way to do it. And this client is suggesting something that you know is not necessary. And you want to draw on your past experiences to explain why it's not necessary. What you are proposing is similar to the Bates project that we worked on a year ago. Can I show you it? Here, take a look at this. I think this is exactly what you need. I think this is exactly what you want. Also, it's a lot less work than your shitty idea. It's a lot less work than what you have suggested. I really think you should consider X, Y, or Z. And maybe, this is a good one to start with. Are you open to suggestions? Very polite way of saying, I disagree with you. I have an idea that's better than yours. You're not doing it right. Excuse me, are you open to suggestions, please? Nice way to let them know that. We also had a good conversation about direct or indirectness. And I live in Canada, and the student would have assumed that everyone in Canada is quite indirect. They like to beat around the bush. But I made the point that it really depends on what field you're in, because I have worked in many, many different fields in Canada. And I used to work in a garage, so I was a detailer. I'd clean cars and make them look brand new. I'd sometimes help the mechanics and learn a thing or two. But the beautiful thing there is there was very direct, the English that we used. There was no beating around the bush. If you were making a mistake, the boss would let you know. And I appreciated that. I don't like the fluff. I don't like the, the building up or beating around the bush of an idea. That's not my jam. I am not interested in that. I am definitely more in favor of directness. So the student was surprised when I told him the story of working in a car garage and how everyone there is direct. No issues whatsoever. However, if you're working in a different field, different industry or something, then yes, I imagine it would be more indirect speech. So I'd love to know from the comments, what's it like where you are? And if you're living in a different culture than the culture you were born and raised in, is that different or similar to your previous experiences? This is a nice one. He told me to fuck myself in an indirect way. That's a very nice one. He told me he disagreed in a very indirect way. Similar to, hey, are you open to suggestions? In other words, I think what you're suggesting is wrong. So he told me to fuck myself in an indirect way. He told me to revise the project in an indirect way. So just change to fuck myself with whatever you want. We spoke about how a lot of people in business can be passive aggressive instead of just being straight up about it. Let me see. Can I talk freely? We can't do that, or we can do that. Oh yeah, can I talk freely? If you're in a meeting and you're talking to your peers who you get along with, and you have an idea but you're not sure how to explain it, so you can just say, guys, can I talk freely? I might not say it 100% right, but we cannot do it like that. What the client is suggesting is way too complex. It doesn't need to be that complex. This is a good one here. Your answer does not warrant a fucking essay or a fucking speech, please. That is basically telling a person in a very direct way, get to the point. Don't give me fluff. Don't just beat around a bush. And please just get straight to it. Sometimes in emails, people might include a lot of irrelevant information. And it's like, gosh, I just wanted a yes or no answer. I don't need an essay. I don't need a speech. Just give it to me in bullet point form, please. Can you relate to that? To warrant, we had a few more examples. I didn't copy and paste them, I think, but I'll try to remember them now. So your answer doesn't warrant. And let's just talk about that. His action didn't warrant your reaction. Think about a time you got too angry with someone. Think about a time you were so pissed off with someone and you kind of like blew a gasket. And afterwards you thought about it and you regretted it. And you realized you were in the wrong. You realized what you did was not right. And that your reaction was way worse than what they deserved. You know, you really came down hard on a person when you shouldn't have. Well, that's the example there. His action didn't warrant your reaction. His mistake didn't warrant your insult. You know, you shouldn't insult them just because he made a mistake. So to warrant in this case is deserve almost. So what he did not warrant what you did after. You know, that's like he did something bad, but there was no need for you to get even badder than that. We spoke about knowing where you stand and they won't pull any punches. So if they don't pull a punch, that means that they don't, take it easy on you. You know, they're going full blast at you and they're going to punch you as hard as they can. Not 80%, not 70%, 100% they're going to punch you. And so that could be with harsh words in the office. They let you know exactly where you stand. If you're standing on thin ice, they're going to tell you about it. And so you can make relevant changes. They will not butter you up, or they will say it as it is. So to butter up a person is to compliment a person because you want something, but you can butter a person up before you give them some bad news. And if someone will say it as it is, they're just going to be very, very direct. Okay, folks, my name is Ronan. Thank you for watching some random class notes. See you.